stood here a year ago and you told us that you had a lot of talent and going to have a good ball club. What can you tell us about this club this season?
We got some talent and pretty good ball club. I don't want to be a boring interview, but we got some really good arms. Some guys that can really throw it. Whether they really hone in on the zone and really kind of lock into approaches and be able to execute. That's what minor league baseball is about. So we're excited what we have. You guys, been around and understand and see and identify. We had a bunch of trades and some guys kind of, fill in and even backlog a lot, with regards to, stocking, I guess, if you will. I mean, that's not the right word, but we really have a pretty full minor leagues. Fortunately, I talked about before, I was with the Royals and then the Nationals, and it reminds me a lot of that, with regards to what the minor leagues have, growing up and seeing what we have, and it's really exciting.
You got some of the guys back again. How do you keep their heads up? I mean, obviously they're going to be a little bit disappointed, but when you're talking about Menlinger and about Chase Davis, these guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody has a process of understanding what works for them, and for one thing, they're in a uniform and have an opportunity. Like that's what we say with all the players and having that opportunity. There's a lot of people that don't have that opportunity. So, that's not so much really the conversation that we've had with regards to either one of those two guys. They need to fine tune to be more consistent. Both of them have a world full of talent. There's a reason why they're in their organization, and they have some ability to be in the big leagues. So with those two players alone, it's exciting to be able to have them here because they have that presence and they've been here. But they're big leaguers, man. They got opportunities, and like I said, there's a lot of players in AAA. That's where a good farm system has. And you have players like that are coming back to fine-tune some things and are very much a prospect and have opportunity to be able to get to the next level in the big leagues.
And that's what they're saying. They're saying it's good to be a Cardinal minor leaguer right now.
They have the great mindset. That's why they're here. Those kids, I'm going to lean on them, to have show some of the younger guys what it's about to be here at this level and this opportunity that we have, which is a great ballpark, great league. Travel's a little brutal sometimes, but to have somebody and have a few of them that have some experience helps out a lot.
Menlinger's ability to play multiple positions, I mean, how big is that for a guy like him?
Huge. I mean, I think you answered your question before we even started. I think it's a great question. Being versatile gives him more opportunity, more tools in the tool bag to be able to help a club out. And it's really cool to watch what he's done from having him 4 or 5 years ago and him being here. He has so much versatility that you can put him anywhere. I don't know about behind the plate, but I think he's got so much to bring to the table.
You could do that once. That'd be fun.
Probably do it.
I kind of like my job, but I mean, the whole point. That's funny you bring that up because we actually put him back there to catch some sides last year. But to answer your question, he's got a lot of versatility. He can be able to play across all the way around the diamond and play any field or any position in the outfield. So it helps him out. It helps us out.
Last year you were just getting your feet wet here in terms of Springfield and this clubhouse, this team. What are things that are different for you now that you've had a whole year under your belt?
Well, for me, it's just we have some new staff members. Casey has an opportunity to be in the big leagues, which is awesome. Cultivating that with their relationships, my relationship with them, along with our players. Have a new group, so it's the same mentality but different personalities, and how we can be able to cultivate that clubhouse like we had, not so much just all about last year, but what we learned from last year, what we can do better. As crazy as it sounds, what else can you do better? And you won a championship is being prepared for them to be in the big leagues so that we can win at the big league level. And I think that's really what we're trying to be able to do. I mean, not really, but that's what we're trying to do. And if we can be better at that, I think that's a big challenge for us.
Thinking ahead toward the home opener here, what do you tell the guys in the clubhouse about Springfield and the fans and Cardinal Nation to kind of get them to know who's in the stands watching them?
It's cool because the game that was here against the big leagues, and I know you guys saw there was a lot of guys are going to Memphis because of the setup. It makes sense for those guys to be here to play against the big leagues, and for those guys to see the people in the stands and get a feel for that before they came here. For the ones that have not been here, they're itching, So it's a really great atmosphere. We talk to them. We want them to experience it. So we're looking for all the people to come out that support us the last year, the year before, and keep it going because it's an exciting team. Everybody says that beforehand. They're all winning championships, but it's really cool to be able to see the group we have and the talent we have. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
We were just talking with Liam out here. Just talk about him and
He's a wild child in a good way. I really like him a lot. He brings that mentality, the competitiveness, the grind, and how he goes about his business is really awesome. I saw it last year, the tail end when he came up. He was watching every one of our starters and what they did beforehand, just really listening and watching. And this is going to be his opportunity. He touched on it a little bit last year. It was really kind of quick, but him having a taste of it was really good for him to come into this year. So awesome. I'm trying to get him to get some cowboy boots when we go down to Texas. He's from the Northeast, up near Maine in that area, and he said not sure if his mom will let him, but I'm gonna. That's one thing I think I'm gonna go over the line. So I hope his mom doesn't get mad at me, but I'm gonna get a little bit of flair in him and get some. So if you see him in boots, we're making strides.
He was known for his fire and emotion on the mound at Tennessee. In the pro game, do you have kind of walk a fine line with that, or is you gonna let him do his thing?
Understand what professionalism is, but not losing how his personality is and what really drives him. We don't ever. We can help hold back a little bit, but we want him to be himself, but understand what being professional is. So that's what we're here for, and the game usually teaches you, so he's had some humble pie, and we all have in this game, in life in general. And, like I said, there's so much talent. There's so much things you like about this young man. We're going to feed off of that, and then hopefully the game and us be able to help him out can teach him some of the other things of professional baseball.
Well, the Cardinals have had some fiery pitchers over the years.
Yeah, from what I hear, there's some pretty interesting. Hal Rabowski's one of them. I got a chance to be able to talk to him and watch him a little bit more. But yet he's a professional.
Bob Gibson would hold a grudge for a whole entire offseason.
That's what I hear. Yeah, so hopefully you can be able to hone in on it and be able to have it play and understand what professional baseball is. And he's a great personality to have, for sure.
Season, Coach, you're a guy that eats, sleeps, and breathes baseball. So was today kind of like Christmas Day for you, getting ready, coming out here, putting the gear back on?
No doubt. Especially with the beautiful weather, and seeing the look on their faces when they first get here is really priceless, to be honest with you, of the guys that haven't been here. So that excitement's great. Getting to work to be able to see what they got every day, it's even more exciting. Not going on 8.5-hour trips, is not the best, but it's part of growing and being part of the Texas League. So yes, really excited to be able to see how these guys, look around and understand how good it is here, and they're going to enjoy it.
You've had a number of years across all levels here. What does it mean to know that you're in an organization that really stocks the pipeline full of these players to rebuild the next future teams?
It's a great feeling. Obviously, to be able to have the talent that we do and have an opportunity as coaches and managers and to be able to influence those type of players, to be able to get them better. That's what the minor league's about. To seeing J.J. Witherholt, first home run, win a game, that gives guys chills. If it doesn't, you're not in it for the right reason. So we want to see the next J.J. or whoever the next guy is to help the club out. We've got a lot of pieces, a lot of really good players, and hopefully can be able to cultivate and get them better.
What's the number one message that you've given for this team this year? I know the big thing is winning back-to-back Texas League championships. Is there anything else that you sort of just emphasize to these players, especially for the younger guys who are kind of getting the feel of Major League Ball?
We have not had our first meeting, so I'm not going to be able to answer that totally yet because I don't want to give too much of a spoiler for them. It's not like a big magical pill. It's just in a gist to that question, it's being consistent, in this game, let alone life, and hopefully you understand that because that's the difference of all the talent in the world. Being consistent is what you get and what you need in the big leagues. So that's going to be the overall. Finding out the personality and how these guys are interacting with each other is going to be interesting to see, and we'll find out. Going to the Big Texan down in Amarillo, see if somebody gets that 72-ounce steak to see if we have any takers and find out some personalities. So yeah, I'll be able to answer that one in a little bit.
Coach, I know you touched on consistency, but when you talk about Doyle, right, observing starting pitchers, what is it about these guys coming up here, maybe first or second year, and really seeing what the big boys do, whether it's stretching, scouting, or whatever it is? Why is that so fundamental?
Well, they see it in spring training, so it starts off there, and then they identify what these guys do on a daily basis, in spring training that is. When they come down here for rehabs, they see that as well. They don't really get a pure taste of it until they're there. So we're trying to cultivate that in the minor leagues at each level. So here it's kind of a great opportunity because they're starting to get a little bit of experience underneath their belt and understand what they need to be able to do. So it's a little bit easier, but still we have to really teach and help that out. So as a whole, the vision, the conversations, seeing other big leaguers when they do have rehabs. We don't want any rehabs, nothing personal here, but we don't want anybody to get hurt, but it's usually not practical. So it's all part of the learning process, and hopefully they can be able to, be prepared and get ready for the big leagues.
When you get to this level, you're close. Right? These guys know
They are. They are. They get a little taste of it in spring training, but as a whole, it's never the same until you get there. And yes, they know it's right around the corner.